Chef Buck here, and today we're going to cook up some Mexican style chilaquiles. Now when we first got to Mexico, I resisted this dish because it seemed wrong. You know, to have tortillas for breakfast, I sort of felt like I'm eating Doritos for breakfast. But over time, I became slightly addicted, and you probably have everything that you need in your kitchen already, or almost. All you're really going to need, boom, is some garlic, onion, tomato, and then some peppers. I've got a little bit of jalapeno here that I'm going to use for the heat. But the key is these dried poblano peppers. We have a fresh poblano pepper here. Now you've probably seen these before. They're used in chili rellenos. I mean, you can use them in all kinds of dishes. But when you dry them, boom, they look like this here, and then they might be labeled, boom. Now I get this here in the Latin section of our grocery store, and they'll have all kinds of dried peppers hanging over there. But get you some dried poblanos. It's really going to make this dish. And I'm going to use these tortillas right here, but use whatever you like. You could fry up your own tortillas if you want, but then that requires more effort. More effort doesn't really interest me. These are kind of thin. You know, they're not ideal for this dish, but it'll work. It'll work. You might want to go ahead and open the bag as you begin to make the recipe so that you can just eat them while you're making it, according to your preference. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare our dried peppers. And they're very dark and smoky looking, and they add such a great flavor. They're very dry and leathery. But we're going to go ahead and pull the stem out because we want to de-seed these here. So I'm just going to open them up and get rid of my seeds. And if a few seeds sneak into the dish, that's okay, we don't care about that. Boom, boom, boom. So that's a good enough job. So you just want to make sure and get the seeds out, get the stem out, so that we've just got the rest of the dried pepper. And I'm using about 3 or 4 dried peppers to make this sauce. And this is going to be enough for me and Camera Girl for a nice little dish. Alrighty, come over here, Camera Girl. I'm going to go ahead and throw my peppers in here. We'll get our pot bubbling. I'm going to toss in my hot peppers. And again, the hot pepper part is optional. I got a couple of cloves of garlic that I'm going to add into the pot. Just give them a slight chop there because it doesn't matter. We don't have to cut these up too finely because we're going to blend it at the very end after everything's bubbled around in this pot for a little bit. My onion, a little bit of a choppy chop. Boom. Now with the tomatoes, we just want to chop off the little stemmy part. And I'm using 3 tomatoes here, but last time I made this dish, it was just for Camera Girl and I just used 2 tomatoes. So depending on the size of the tomato. But you don't even have to use fresh tomatoes. Since we're going to be cooking this for a little bit and then blending it up, you know, if you just wanted to use a can of tomatoes, you could. But we've got fresh tomatoes, so we're going to use them. I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in here. Not a whole lot. Boom, boom, boom. And that's all we're going to put in this pot here. And I got about 5 cups of water in here. You know, I don't want a whole lot. And I'm going to put it on high heat, let it come up to a bubble. Now I'm going to chop up this green onion because I'm going to use some fresh onion to top this dish later. But I'm going to go ahead and chop it up now so I can put some of this onion in the pot. Because I'm not going to need all of this onion. And you don't have to use green onion. You know, if you've just got a little regular yellow onion, you could chop it up. Just like the onion we put in here, if you only have that, you can reserve a little bit of that and dice it up as a topping. But I like to use the green onion because it adds a nice little bit of color. These bottom parts of the onion I'll go ahead and throw in the pot. And it is already boiling, so I'm going to reduce it down to a simmer and cover it up. Let it cook away, bubble away for about a half hour. Beep, 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 beep. So it has been going for about a half hour. Really all we want to do is reconstitute our peppers and get those flavors together. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and then we're going to pour it into a blender. I'm going to do it in the sink to avoid catastrophe. And I didn't cook this down with a lot of water, but we want to make sure that I don't have too wet a sauce. So I'm going to pour some of this liquid off and then just add it if I need it. And I really cut it close in the liquid department, but I like a nice thick sauce. So let's get it over here on our blender, and we'll just blend it until we get it nice and saucy. Ready? Let me look and see how this is in here. Holy cow, what a lot of flavor. And you can see we got a little bit of seeds in there. That's alrighty. It's a nice smoky flavor. And I got a little bit of heat in there, but not too much. But I'm going to add just a little smish smash of cream, or you could just do a little dash of half and half. But I like it just to be a little smoother and creamier. Maybe it's psychological. And that's all there is to making this sauce. And this is the key to chilaquiles. And the key to this sauce, you know, is the dried poblanos. Now the rest of this dish is super easy. Just going to use a little cheese here, just a crumbly cheese, just something that you can smash up. And this crumbly Mexican style cheese is very easy to find. And you can use as much or as little of this as you like. Part of me even wants to say it's optional, but I don't really think it is. But it is, you know, as long as you got the sauce and the tortillas and some eggs on top, you know, it's going to be good. But whenever I would get it in Mexico and they were generous with the cheese and a little bit of the crema on top, it was so good. And Camera Girl made this crema here a few days ago. And basically it's just creme fraiche. You know, if you want to make a Mexican style crema, you just make creme fraiche and then add a little bit of lime juice to it at the very end. But if you just have a little bit of this to drizzle on your chilaquiles, really makes it spectacular. But I'll have the recipe for this over at our website, along with the rest of the recipe for this here chilaquile dish. Come on over here, Camera Girl. Alrighty, so I'm going to heat up a skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of my sauce here on the bottom of the skillet. Top it with some chips. And what I really like about this dish is having some soft tortillas and some crunchy tortillas. So I get me a layer of sauce, a layer of chips, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of my onion, and then some more sauce on top. Then I'm going to top it with the rest of my cheese and onion. Boom. And that's all there is to this dish. Now you can plate it up and serve it any which way you like. But throw some eggs on the side or throw some eggs up on top and it's delicioso. Now I'm going to top this with a little creme fraiche. Again, this is optional, but I'll just give it a drizzle. And it adds a decadent luxuriousness to the dish. Semi-optional, but highly recommended. Give me a couple of eggs cooking up here. And I'll plate me up some chilaquiles. Boom, boom, boom. And that's all there is to this very easy Mexican style breakfast. You know, we got that cheese melted in there, got a little bit of the crema, and now a little bit of yolk thrown in there, thrown into the mix. Let me try without the yolk first. I mean, it's stunning how good this dish is, if the cook doesn't say so himself. You know, those dried poblanos really makes it. Still looking forward to getting back to Mexico, but man, this will do until then. I'll have the recipe written down below. You can check it out, or you can print it out over at myfoodchannel.com. You know, there'll be some more tips, and we'll have the crema recipe over there. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and thumbs up and all that stuff. Hope everybody out there is doing super duper, and we'll see you in the future. Bye-bye.